willing to do it. I don't like the guy. I don't know many people that do.
Hey, stay connected. Follow Pro Wrestling Bits.
Your tribal chief Roman Reigns went on record in saying he does not like CM Punk. Get in line. Appearing on the Load Management podcast, shout out to them, Chief Joe pulled no punches in ripping Phil Brooks, giving CM Punk backhanded praise, all while doing business and teasing a potential CM Punk versus Roman Reigns dream match, possibly in Saudi Arabia, which would make both men lots and lots of money because these islands don't pay for themselves. Quote, he'd probably have to be slapped around a few times in order to get his mind right, but if CM Punk is willing and the fans in the audience are going to like it and be into it, then most likely I'm into it. Woo! Welcome, Chief. CM Punk pissing other people off is nothing new. He may not notice, but he's quietly becoming the next Jim Cornette. But since retiring, most of his spats with his ex-coworkers have led to nothing. Punk recently called out AJ Styles for his silence during the George Floyd protests, and Styles wouldn't even say his name. Due to a combination of age and tension, CM Punk's window to return to a WWE ring is quickly closing. He very well may never wrestle another match for the company again. CM Punk is still one of the few white whales whose potential in-ring return could move the needle, but he didn't do himself any favors by choosing to return to the wrestling business in the middle of the night on a show that literally almost nobody watched. Seriously, can we talk about this for a second? This was one of the last few holy shit moments left in wrestling, and it was squandered on FS1, not at WrestleMania or in a WWE Network exclusive or an AEW, but FS1 on a fake studio show? That's like if Lex Luger debuted in a mini-mall. To make matters worse, the addition of CM Punk to WWE backstage meant nothing. Ratings cratered and Fox executives decided to pull the plug, which was all a bad look to his drawing power in 2020. It's fair to question whether interest in CM Punk is fleeting among WWE's audience. If so, this would be done by design. There's essentially a gag order against him, and with no crowds in WWE for now, nobody is there to spontaneously chant CM Punk's name on live TV. It's impossible to forget about CM Punk, but WWE goes out of its way to almost never mention him by name, and the longer WWE can control its audience, the more control they have over the stories they want you to believe. Let's face it, those CM Punk chants were essentially what was left of his legacy to this company. CM Punk highlights are never shown on mainstream television, and there's clearly still bitterness on both sides. If WWE Network were a library, the CM Punk books would be locked in a drawer somewhere. But Roman Reigns' latest comments about CM Punk is the first time in a long time that an actual match has been teased. And not by CM Punk, by the top star in the company. There's absolutely a precedent for this. John Cena's real-life tensions with The Rock began during a similar interview where John Cena criticized The Rock for leaving WWE for Hollywood. This eventually led to a storyline that gave us back-to-back WrestleMania main events. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns could be a philosophical masterpiece. Reigns always appealed to a broader, more mainstream wrestling demographic, while CM Punk connected with the hardcore fans. This feud would also have a built-in storyline tie-in of Paul Heyman, Punk's former manager, now aligned with Roman Reigns. The timing of all this is a little too perfect, isn't it? Whether this is Roman Reigns going into business for himself or a foreshadowing of things to come, this sinking ship is in desperation mode. Heel Roman Reigns is a great start to give WWE the spark they need, but WWE has done such a bad job booking its babyfaces for so many years that now the only interesting opponents for this monster heel are outside of WWE's main roster. As unlikely as it is to see a Roman Reigns versus CM Punk match, everybody's got a price, even CM Punk. WWE remains obsessed with his past, but it's running out of people to bring back. Things have gotten so bad it might be to the point where WWE has to mend fences with the past it tried to forget. If there is smoke to this tribal bonfire and WWE throws some of that edge money at CM Punk, the return of CM Punk can finally get the fanfare it deserves in a match, and hopefully a loss, to a heel Roman Reigns.